Hello. Welcome to a new week. I'm Catherine. This is Yoga with Come Follow Me. I have filmed today's video like 3 times. I don't know why. I just can't seem to get it right. But here we go again. Hopefully the last time. This week it's chapter 29 of Mosiah, then we go into Alma 1, 2, 3, and 4. So today I'm going to go through Mosiah 29 and Alma 1 and 2, and then tomorrow we'll do 3 and 4. And we're going to move our bodies and create some breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Just feel that breath come in, feel the air come in, feel your body, feel the tension. Where are you holding it and where can you just let it go? Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Start to just get deeper, warm up that breath, warm up the body. So keep breathing, keep inhaling, keep exhaling. We're going to review from last week. If you remember, we left off in 28, where at the beginning, the sons of Mosiah and Alma, young Alma, really feel prompted to go to the Lamanites and teach them about the gospel. And remember, the angel came and told them that the church is true and that all these things that have been taught in the past are actually true, and they really feel it, they really believe it. And now they feel prompted to go teach the Lamanites because they feel like they might be somebody who can, because they've been on both sides of it. Now we're in chapter 9. It starts with Mosiah and how he's at the end of his journey. He's getting to this place where he's nearing his end, and he does not have any sons who are very fit to be king at this moment to the people. Okay, let's bring our feet, I'm going to take off my socks, about 6 to 8 inches apart. In fact, let's just warm up. 6 to 8 inches apart. Inhale, lift the chest, gaze up, hands on your hips. And exhale, bend at the hips, bring your chest towards your legs. And with your 2-piece fingers, grab that big toe. Inhale, lengthen the spine, gaze out. And exhale, just pull that chest in towards your legs. Create a nice forward fold and take a couple of breaths here. So Mosiah writes a letter to the people, and which is the majority of chapter 29. And it's really fun to read. He talks about how much he really cares and respects for the people, how much he really cares and respects for God and his righteous teachings. They've come so far, and they've come all this way, and they are now all together in righteousness, and they all believe, and they all have faith. And at this point, he's just like, I don't want you to lose this. And find somebody who will keep this going, who will believe in what you guys believe in. And in verse 40, it says they did wax strong in love towards Mosiah. They loved him. And you can see that Mosiah just really, really cared for his people. And then in verse 42, it came to pass that Alma was appointed to be the first chief judge. So this is the first time that we now are moving away from him, from a king over the people. And so now they're going to start counting the years as the reign, like the first, second, third year of the first reign of the judge. It's a huge transition, right, from going king, and now they're going to this kind of we the people democracy leadership where they all vote and they all chime into who they think it should be, which is big. It's not just going passed down into bloodlines. Okay, so inhale, lengthen the spine, gaze out, bring your hands to your hips, and roll up one vertebrae at a time. Head coming up very last. Take a couple breaths up here. And we will start the counting of those years in Alma. So at the end of chapter 29, it just talks about how Mosiah brings Alma in to be the chief judge over the people, and how they really trust that he will keep this righteousness and keep the faith and keep this belief of God and how much they're prospering because of it. And then at the very end, in verse 45, it came to pass that Mosiah's father died, being 82 years old, and having lived to fulfill the commandments of God. 46, and it came to pass that Mosiah did also in the 33rd year of his reign, being 63 years old. And then in verse 47, and thus ended the reign of the kings over the people of Nephi, and ended the days of Alma, who was the founder of their church. So now we're in book of Alma, chapter 1. Let's inhale, lift the chest, gaze up, hands on your hips. Exhale, bend at the hips. Bring your chest towards your legs, another good forward fold. This time we're going to take our hands underneath our feet. So our palms are facing up, and our feet are resting on our palms, and our toes are touching our wrists. Inhale here, lengthen the spine, gaze out. And exhale, just bend your elbows, pull that chest in towards your legs. Feel those legs, feel the strength in your legs, engage that core, and relax your neck. Take a couple of breaths. Now that we are counting years, I have named each year. I went through and just wrote at the top of my scriptures, first year, second year, third year, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, because we go through the ninth year this week. So we're starting in the first year, and I just summarized kind of what happens in that year, or some words that kind of, that explain that year. So the first year I wrote, Nehor leads some away from the church. So right now we're in Alma 1, year 1. And verse 1, it says, it came to pass in the first year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi. So I wrote, Nehor leads some away from the church. And we will talk about that. So inhale, lengthen the spine, gaze out. Exhale, release your hands, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. All the way up. Take a couple breaths up here. Let that blood pressure kind of catch back up. So they are prosperous, they're humble, they love the church, they're righteous, they're faithful, and they love where they are. And all of a sudden, we now see Gideon's name pop up. And if you remember, Gideon is the one who realized who King Noah really was and what he was actually teaching them and how it was all false. So he stood up and said, King Noah, you don't deserve to be our king. I think we should kill you. You've been teaching us false doctrine. And then he chased him up that tower, remember, where the Lamanites are also coming into the city to attack. And King Noah is at the very top, just like everything is happening. What is even happening? So he tells the city to flee, to fend for themselves, do whatever they can to save themselves. And meanwhile, he's just thinking about himself, remember? And then King Noah flees with his priests. So that was Gideon, who actually stood up and said, hey, we actually know who you really are and what you're really teaching. So he is a man of God, for sure. And the people just love him. This guy came up, started attacking Gideon. And verse 9, because Gideon withstood him with the words of God, he was wroth with Gideon and drew his sword and began to smite him. Now Gideon, being stricken with many years, therefore he was not able to withstand his blows, and he was slain by the sword. Later we find out that this guy's name is Nehor, who killed Gideon. And I love in verse 13, he says, and thou hast shed the blood of a righteous man, a man who has done so much good to the people. They're just so sad that Gideon, this beautiful, faithful man, dies. Okay, let's inhale. Bring your feet about 4 or 5 feet apart. Bring your arms to a strong T. Inhale here. Turn your right toes out. On our exhale, move your right shoulder over the right hip, and the right palm goes down to the inside of that right leg. Inhale. the left fingertips all the way up to the sky. Gaze up past your left fingertips. And just take a couple of breaths. Keep that breath nice and deep. So the people take Nehor to King Alma. Not King Alma. Alma. Verse 15. They carried him to the top of the hill Amalicites, and there he was caused, or rather did acknowledge between the heavens and the earth, that what he had taught to the world was contrary to the word of God, and he suffered death up on this mountain. And then in verse 16 it says, and they went forth preaching false doctrines, and this they did for the sake of riches and honor. So they realized that they had gained riches and honor by teaching these unbeliefs and these words contrary to God. And they got so much out of it, all these worldly things out of it. And so Nehor dies. Inhale, come back up to a strong T. Bring the right toes back in, turn the left toes out. Inhale here, lengthen the spine, expand the lungs, and exhale, shift that left shoulder over the hips. Bring the left palm down on the inside of that foot, and inhale the right fingertips all the way up to the sky. Take a couple breaths here. So Nehor is dead, but he has these followers that straddle behind. They bring all of these persecutions and stealing and robbing and murdering, all these things into this faithful community that has always believed in God. And Nehor kind of led these people into believing this other way. Alma, in the second year of the reign of Alma, in verse 23, he puts laws into place until from the second year to the fifth year, for about 3 years. And they do this, and it works. And they put these laws into place for the people who want to kind of wreak havoc on the land and do things that aren't ethical or nice. So the laws work. Inhale, come up to a strong T, bring those are left toes back in. And we're going to go into Parivrita Trikonasana. So this is a revolved triangle. Turn your right toes out. Inhale here. And on our exhale, we're going to windmill our hands so that we are revolved. Our left palm is going to go onto the inside of that right foot. Inhale, the right fingertips all the way up to the sky. Gaze up past those fingertips. Parivrita Trikonasana. Whenever you're ready, on your inhale, we're going to windmill our arms all the way back up to a strong T. Turn those right toes in, and switching sides, our left toes go out. Take a couple of breaths. Here for a moment, catch your breath if you need to. So that's where our first chapter ends, and then we'll talk about the second chapter. Inhale here. Whenever you're ready, exhale, windmill those palms. So the right palm is on the inside of the left foot. Inhale, reach up, gaze up past those left fingertips. When you're ready, on your inhale, windmill your palms or your hands back up to a strong T. Bring both toes facing out in front of you. And exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Bring your feet in towards each other. And just take some breaths here. So now in chapter 2, it just starts in the 5th year of the reign of the judges. And they introduce, also in verse 1, a man being called Amalici. He being a very cunning man, a wise man to the wisdom of the world. He was following Nehor. And it says in here, he being after the order of the man who slew Gideon by the sword. They don't even mention Nehor's name. He's not that important to really focus on his name. They focus on the fact that Gideon was slain and how sad they are on that. So I thought that was just interesting, that they don't say he was follower of Nehor. They say he was the follower of the man who slew Gideon, because that's what they cared about. Okay, so now we're going to bring our feet a little bit wider than our Trikonasana. We're going to go into Parsvakonasana. So inhale here, turn the right toes out and bring your arms to a strong T. On your exhale, bend the right knee to a 90 degrees. Again, we do not want that knee going past that big toe, right? We want to keep it in line with that ankle at about 90 degrees. If you need to move your back foot back in order to really feel that stretch, do that. Don't overextend that leg or that knee joint. Okay, so we're here, we're strong, feel the strength in both of your legs. Inhale here, and exhale, bring that right palm onto the inside of that right foot. Inhale, left fingertips all the way up to the sky, gaze up. This is Utthita Parsvakonasana. I love, love, love Sanskrit. I think it's an awesome language and has so much history and depth to it. So when I can, I will include that in this. So Amalekite is this wicked man, and in verse 4, it says that it was his intent to destroy the church of God. It's interesting to see what the Nephites do after they realize that this is his intent. In verse 5 through 7, it talks about what the Nephites do and how they come together. In verse 7 it says, "Came to pass that the voice of the people came against Amalekite." Okay, on your inhale, come back up to a strong T. Bring those right toes back in. Take a couple breaths if you need to. Whenever you're ready, turn your left toes out. On your inhale, hands to a strong T, lengthen the spine. And exhale, bend that left knee to a 90-degree angle. Engage that core, feel the strength. Inhale here, and on your exhale, bring that left palm to the inside of the left foot. Inhale, gazing up. So while the Nephites say, no, you cannot be king, there are some people that love Amalekite, and they call themselves Amalicites. They do not believe in God or his teachings, and the Nephites do. So these two groups decide to go to battle against each other, and they all arm up and prepare themselves and get their strongest men and their strongest weapons, and they go to battle against each other. When you're ready, on your inhale, bring your arms all the way back up to a T. Bring your toes out forward. Inhale here, and on your exhale, bring your hands to your hips, your feet back together. Take a couple breaths. In verse 16, now Alma being the chief judge and the governor of the people, therefore he went up with his people, yea, with his captains and his chief captains, yea, at the head of his army against the Amalekites to battle. They battle, this horrible battle. A lot of people die, and in verse 19, the Nephites win. So they are in a part of the wilderness right now, right? And some of the Amalekites who did survive go back to wherever they came from before the battle. And Alma sends some spies named Zeram, Amner, Manti, and Himner to go follow the Amalekites and see where they came from and where they're even going. They used to live with them. Now they don't. Bring your legs really wide again. And inhale, bring your arms to a T. Turn your right toes out. On your exhale, bend that right knee to a 90-degree angle, and we're going to revolve our Parsvakonasana, right? So Parivrita Parsvakonasana. On your exhale, we're going to windmill our hands so our left palm goes to the inside of that left foot. Inhale, right fingertips all the way up to the sky. If it feels better for you to lift that back heel, go ahead and lift that back heel. So they follow the Amalekites, and this is where they find out that the Lamanites and the Amalekites have joined forces. So the spies come back pretty fearful to Alma, saying, guess what? We found out. They have joined forces and they're large in number. And because we just battled them and won, they will come back for us. Okay, on your inhale, windmill your arms back up. Bring your toes in. Take a couple breaths if you need to. On your next inhale, turn the left toes out. Bring your arms to a strong T. Exhale, bend that left knee to 90 degrees, windmill your palm, so your right palm is going to the inside of that left foot. Gaze up past your left fingertip, sorry. All these right and lefts kind of get confusing at times. So the Nephites pack up their stuff and leave because they know that the Amalekites / Lamanites are now coming after them. We'll just call them all the Lamanites. Whenever you're ready, inhale, come back up to a strong T. Turn your left toes out in front of you. And on your exhale, bring your hands to your hips, feet together. So they come across the river Sidon. When you're ready, bring your feet a little bit wide. Our feet are pointing out about 45 degrees, and just come into what we call a yogi squat. Open those hips. Counteract some of those poses. They come to the river Sidon and they meet the Lamanites. And the Lamanites are ready and prepared to battle them, as are they. They've been prepared, they knew they were coming. So they come and go to battle. And during this battle, Alma and Amalici hash it out. And Alma kills Amalici. And when this happens, the Lamanites see that Alma just killed one of their leaders, so they start fleeing across the river. And the Nephites actually go and chase them. Let's twist to one side. The Nephites chase them because they're just over this. They're over them attacking them. They're over them attacking everything that they stand for, everything that they believe in. Switch sides. So they chase them and kill as many as they can, and the rest flee. In verse 37 it says, they were met on every hand and slain and driven. They were scattered on the west and on the north until they reached the wilderness, which was called Hermount. And it was part of the wilderness which was infested by wild and ravenous beasts. And then 38, and it came to pass that many died in the wilderness, and they were devoured by the beasts and the vultures of the air, and their bones are heaped up on the earth. Like just so much death and sadness. Okay, when you're ready, just come to a nice seated position. So much sadness. So much hardship on the people, on those that passed away. Okay, inhale here. And exhale. Let it all go. Bring your hands to heart center. And bring your chin to your chest. Close your eyes. And as we end our practice today, let's just sit in a little bit of a meditation. The Amalekites and Lamanites weren't bad people. They were people. They were people who just believed different things. The Nephites weren't necessarily the good people. They were just people who believed different things. As are we, right? These times are not so different from where we are right now. And I think so many times we're just so quick to judge the good or the bad or the hero or the villain, right? But in the end, maybe that's not it at all. In the end, maybe we're all just doing our best and believing exactly what we want to believe for our life. I know that I want my testimony strengthened. And I know that having a testimony in my personal life really, really benefits me in so many ways. And I see it, and I feel it, and I know it. And those that don't feel that way doesn't make them any less of a person, right? It's been something I'm learning lately. And maybe today, or maybe this week, I challenge you to notice your thoughts and notice your judgments. And notice where they're coming from. The light in me honors and loves the light within you. Namaste.